Welcome to part 5 of chapter 1. In this part of our video presentation, we will talk about the role of a project manager. So we will talk about project management as a profession. We will also talk about the kind of skills and personal traits that a project manager needs to have in order to be successful with his or her project. Now, job descriptions for a project manager, they vary, but most job descriptions include responsibilities like planning, scheduling, coordinating, and working with people in order to achieve project goals. Research shows that 97% of successful projects were led by experienced project managers who can often help influence success factors. What the statistics tells you is that there's no substitute for experience. You cannot learn how to be a successful project manager just by reading about it. You become a successful project manager by leading projects. So that's the ultimate success factor for any project manager, to gain experience in project management. And that's why a lot of organizations they will not hire somebody to be a project manager even though this person has a degree in project management, unless this person already has experience, maybe not necessarily managing projects, but at least working on different projects. So experience is very important for ensuring project success, and also success of a project manager, his or her personal success. So what are the broad areas of skills for a project manager? Well, the overall project management body of knowledge, there are several areas there, and most of these areas will be covered in this course. Here we're talking about human resource management, we're talking about planning, we're talking about scheduling, we're talking about budgeting, integration of all projects components together, and so forth. So you can refer to this general project management framework that we covered previously. Also, to be successful, a project manager needs to have the domain or application area knowledge. For example, if you're working in the field of healthcare, then you need to know something about healthcare industry, about standards within healthcare, also about regulations, for example, HIPAA Act and so forth. Similarly, if you work in IT or telecommunications, then you need to know something about IT, about software development, also about networking infrastructure and so forth. Project environment knowledge, meaning this broad understanding of his or her organization. Here we're talking about political forces, about budgeting procedures, the money that is available. So deep understanding of the environment that you're in, the organizational environment that you're in, also helps you to be successful. Also, general management knowledge and skills. Being able to create plans, monitor compliance with deadlines, motivate people to some extent. So all those things will come in handy in project management. Most importantly, a project manager needs to have certain soft skills or human relationship skills, because as a project manager, you are as good as the people who are working for you. So you need to be very strong when it comes to understanding those people. You need to have a high degree of emotional intelligence. Also, you need to be able to motivate them. You also need to be able to listen to them, to understand their concerns, to resolve their problems. Also, you need to be good at communicating and so forth. So all those soft and human relationship skills, oftentimes they are more important than technical knowledge of the domain area or knowledge of any specific tools or ideas within the project management body of knowledge. Now, some of those soft people skills are listed here. So, people skills meaning being able to get along with people, being likable. Leadership means being able to lead people towards meaning having a vision for people and motivate people to attain that vision. Listening not only in terms of understanding the meaning of the words that come out of somebody's mouth, but also to be able to understand what's behind those words, what kind of feelings and concerns people really have, when they say things to you. Also, as a manager, as a project manager, you need to have integrity, ethical behavior. You need to be fair or consistent with everybody. So if you decide on a particular practice, then you need to be consistent. You shouldn't apply this practice to, let's say, of strictly adhering to budgets to one team and then not apply it to another one, or apply it in one area and then not apply it in another area, because this will diminish people's perceptions in terms of you being a fair leader. Also, integrity and ethics are very important, because if you always cut corners, if you lie about things, then eventually you'll get caught and you will fail in your profession or in your project. Also, you need to be strong at building trust. People need to trust you, meaning they need to be confident that you will not betray them. You will not put them in a situation where their lives and their careers are hurt. They also need to trust in your abilities to lead the project, to achieve success with this project, and so forth. Verbal communication is also very important when it comes to people skills, because that's how you deal with people. I mean, that's how you influence them, that's how you understand their concerns, through communication. You also need to be strong at building teams. Again, you as a project manager, you are not stronger than the people who work for you. So if you put together a strong team, the team that is motivated and productive, then you'll be able to resolve all kinds of issues. However, if you don't have a strong team working for you, if you don't build a team, meaning you don't assemble together people with skills that complement each other, and also if you don't I guess train people on how to work together effectively, then again, no matter how smart, how talented you are as a project manager, you will fail. So team obviously is very important. Conflict resolution, conflict management. Some conflicts are productive when they involve discussing various directions, various ideas. There's nothing wrong with people having different views on how to proceed with a particular project. However, when people start attacking each other personally, meaning they're attacking people's personality, their personal traits, then this is the time when a project manager needs to intervene and try to resolve that conflict. Uh, you know, uh, Based on my experience, a lot of those conflicts can be resolved just by communication. Like, you can ask your team members to meet together, let's say with you as being a mediator, and in a polite and respectful fashion discuss their grievances. And if they do it in a calm and polite way, they may even discover that most of that their grievances are really misunderstandings. They're not due to some fundamental personality or um, fundamental personality differences or differences in opinions on how to proceed with work. Critical thinking, problem solving is also very important. Some people say that being a manager means solving problems for other people so they can perform at their top capacity. It's not about telling people what to do. It's about eliminating barriers that prevent people from achieving their tasks and objectives. Also, being able to understand people, and most importantly, set and balance priorities, because in just about anything that you do in life, there are so many things that pull you into different directions. So this is something that requires not as much intelligence, in my opinion. It's something that requires a strong character to be able to identify what's important and what's not, and which is more important, to be able to stick to be focused on the areas that are important, and not let anybody or anything distract you from those important objectives. That's something that takes a lot of character, in my opinion. So yeah, those are like examples of some soft people skills that a project manager needs to have. Now, the skill sets that you may have, that you may need, that are essential. Many of them, they are always necessary. They're always important, but the skill set may differ depending on the type of project that you're participating in. For example, large projects may require effective skill in leadership, because you cannot watch over everybody's shoulder. The project is large; it involves a lot of people. You just need to unite people in achieving a common goal. Verbal communication is very important because you'll be communicating to large groups. In highly uncertain projects, let's say projects involving research and development of new products, new services, risk management is important. You need to be able to understand all the things that can go wrong. Expectations management is important, meaning your stakeholders need to understand that a lot of things can go wrong, and they need to understand that most of the uh, projects that involve uncertainty, for example, developing a new product, they fail, so they shouldn't expect a guaranteed result. And then novel projects may also require leadership, so that you have a vision of what needs to be achieved, because people may not know what they are doing in the first place. So vision is important. Self-confidence is important. You need to be confident in yourself and your team to achieve the desired objectives, and so forth. But many of those skills, like leadership skills, they're important everywhere. But the priority of those skills may be different depending on the type of project you're working on. Now, we already mentioned this several times, this whole idea of being a leader. So being a leader is different from being a manager. Effective project managers, they are both. I mean, they're leaders and managers. Now, to be a manager means to be able to deal with the day-to-day details of meeting specific goals, right? So it's something related to operations. How do we go about, doing X, right? So it's more like about, being knowledgeable in processes. Now, leadership is something different. A leader may not be knowledgeable from a technical perspective. In other words, he may not understand all the processes that are used in healthcare. He may not understand all the algorithms or all the technologies used in software development. However, a leader has one talent. A leader has a vision or some kind of long-term goal or long-term plan, and he is good at motivating or inspiring other people to reach those goals, to reach those visions. Now, inspiring, it doesn't mean looking over people's shoulder, disciplining them, threatening. It means sparking some kind of ambition, right? Improving their, boosting their motivation so that they are motivated to achieve the goals that you want them to achieve on your own. And that's why leadership is difficult. I mean, some people are very smart, they're very knowledgeable from a technical standpoint, and because of that, they can manage things, they understand how things need to be done, but they don't have what it takes to be a leader. They don't have something, they don't have this enigma that attracts people, they don't have this charisma, right, that makes them inspirational and likable, right? And because of that, they cannot influence people in that leader way. I mean, they cannot make people believe in a particular vision and inspire them to achieve it. Although, from a technical standpoint, they can still be a good manager. They can understand what needs to be done and what vision should be. Which one is better? I mean, of course, there are good managers out there, and they're quite successful. They make a lot of money. But I think being a leader is the most important, the most valued trait, because if you're a leader, if you're a talented leader, you can inspire millions of people to follow you without even meeting all of those people personally, right? But the manager, it's something that is more like on that micro operational side. So leaders always, they're more valued, they get paid more. So true executives, true CEOs, they're more leaders rather than managers. Although many successful leaders, first they become competent, successful managers before they gain that I guess personality, patience, and also this intuitive understanding of people, and before they use all those skills to move into a more of a leadership role where they influence and inspire, as opposed to monitoring people on a daily basis and telling them to do something that managers do all the time. So yeah, successful project managers, they need to do both. Now, there's also a distinction between a program and a project. Now, to make it short, a program is a collection of projects. So an organization may have a very high level vision or very high level goal, and that goal will, called program, will be accomplished with the help of several smaller projects. For example, a business school may have an overall program of obtaining a WCSB accreditation. And there will be several projects under this program umbrella. For example, one project will be directed at marketing business programs. Another project will be directed at revising curriculum in line with WCSB accreditation requirements. Another project will involve, let's say, updating wireless networking infrastructure within the building, right? So there will be several projects under this program. In strategic management, there is this recommendation. Well, there's that acknowledgement that any organization, especially any big organization, usually has a portfolio of projects. So projects cannot be managed in isolation. They need to be managed as one single portfolio. So there needs to be like synergies between those projects. At the minimum, there needs to be an understanding how all those projects converge together, what kind of overall strategic goal this project allows you to achieve, right? And at the minimum, the tactical goals that specific projects are trying to achieve should not be contradictory to each other or to the main strategy or the main goal of an organization. There are many approaches to portfolio management, meaning how exactly companies select projects for their organizations. But it is argued sometimes that any organization should have projects that fall into those three areas. In other words, you cannot have all of your projects in this area or in this area. It has to be all three. So some of the projects will be related to the core. I mean, they will help you improve how the business is currently run. Okay. So, for example, you may want to invest into basic networking infrastructure to support your daily transactions. So that's like core support of core operations. However, as an organization, you will not be successful unless you also invest into growth. So, for example, you can, in addition to supporting current operations, you can invest into additional capacities to extend your enterprise, to include, let's say, people who work from home or people who work in other countries. So that's something related to growth. And also, any organization needs to be involved in projects that are like ventures. They're like innovative, high-risk projects designed to transform business, sometimes in a disruptive fashion, and surprise competitors and gain advantage over those competitors. Let's say something related to introducing new product or service. So unfortunately, as an organization, you cannot be focused on the core only, because other organizations will be investing into their growth and they'll be experimenting. I mean, they'll be innovating with new ideas, new projects, and as a result of that, they may be ahead of you if one of their innovations, if one of their risky projects actually pays off, right? So you cannot avoid that. You cannot only invest into the core. You also need to invest into growth and experimentation. But of course, those are discretionary costs, meaning you can still keep your business afloat at least for a while before your competitors get ahead of you through growth and experimentation or innovation. However, during tough economic times, most organizations, they stick to supporting their core operations. So they only value projects that support their core. They don't have money to support growth or ventures. So, some organizations, they even use software that allows them to visualize different projects that are currently happening, their completion percentage, their schedule variances, meaning are they being delayed, are they ahead of the schedule, cost variance, meaning, are you spending too much or too little, budget variance, are you within the budget or outside of the budget, you're already exceeding the budget, and some information about risk. So here you can have an overall summary of project status. So this is like an executive dashboard, something that can be potentially used by a program manager to visualize all the projects and how successful the organization is with all those projects. Careers for IT project managers. This survey is a bit outdated, but there are all kinds of surveys of senior IT executives, and project management skills always come up as one of the top skills that senior IT executives are looking in their people. So project management is always in demand. I mean, it's always somewhere at the top. As we discussed previously, project management has been around for thousands of years. It is in demand now, and it's not going anywhere. Maybe the industries where project management is important will change. Like today, information technology field is a very booming and promising field. Now that may change, within the next 20 years. Maybe there will be another field. Maybe biotech will become number one, and IT will become more of an infrastructure industry similar to electricity or water. I mean, we all need water and electricity, but there's nothing exciting about those industries. Those industries are very stable, they're small, right? So the same thing may happen with IT, but nothing will ever happen with project management, because project managers will always be in demand. Now, because of that, the project management profession is growing, and it's been around for a while. There have been many professional organizations formed. One of them, I would say it's number one professional organization of project management, is the so-called Project Management Institute, or PMI. So they do a lot of things in relation to project management. One thing that they do, here you have some data about Project Management Institute. So yeah, they have a lot of members from all kinds of industries, from engineering, from financial services. Now, one thing they're famous for is the so-called PMP certification, Project Management Professional Certification. Now, it's a very rigorous certification program. It has a lot of requirements. I mean, first of all, of course, you need to study the Project Management Body of Knowledge book, or as they say, PM BOK book. So you need to know everything about main ideas, techniques, and methodologies in project management. Also, you need to have, I think the last time I checked, it was something like that. You need to document at least 3 years of full-time experience in a project manager capacity. Then they give you this accreditation for 3 years, the certification for 3 years, and you need to renew this accreditation by attending courses, by accumulating those units, educational units. So to maintain your certification in project management, you need to be updating your skills, your knowledge and skills all the time. So it's a very rigorous certification. Now, the number of people who are getting PMP is growing exponentially, okay? And I'm not sure how it is in different countries, but I've noticed that there's a trend in Europe, especially UK, where a lot of professionals, they prefer to get a professional certification such as PMP instead of a master's degree, because it's cheaper, shorter, and some organizations believe that unlike a general master's degree in business, PMP is just like head on when it comes to project management. So they're saying, why, if you're looking at yourself, if you're seeing yourself in this career of a project manager, then why do you need to take all those different courses that may not be related to project management? Of course, personally I disagree with that, because education is not just about learning the specific frameworks and ideas. It's also about interacting with people. It's also learning. In my opinion, formal education, classic education as we have it now, it's also learning how to learn so that you become a lifelong learner. So today it's PMP, tomorrow you may need to learn something else, right? So I believe that the real master's degree, it gives you this foundation where you can learn pretty much anything, be it PMP or certified Scrum professional, whatever that is. Okay, ethics is also very important in project management. In fact, it's been recently added to the knowledge areas under PMP certification. That was largely driven by the scandals in the corporate world involving WorldCom, but I think the most famous case is Enron. Enron was run by very smart, very educated, very successful executives, but there is one thing they were lacking. They were lacking ethics. They were lying about their accounting numbers, about their financials for many years. And they were not like crooks. I mean, they were not criminals, outright criminals from the beginning. It's just that sometimes when you make a small lie, then later on next year you need to you need to create an even bigger lie to cover up for that small lie, and before you know it, kind of snowballs into one big lie, and you become an outright fraud and criminal. So that's why ethics was included, because all those companies like Enron, WorldCom, they were run by very smart people educated in top business schools. But apparently, those top business schools did not teach them one thing, which is ethics: how to be honest with your shareholders, with your colleagues, with your employees, and so forth, your subordinates, and so forth. So that's why ethics has also, was recently included into PMP certification and became an important component of it. Okay, so this concludes part 5 of our video presentation on chapter 1. Thank you for listening.